anytime there's action happening on the set, like there's this extra energy that starts to build around it. And even though it's exhausting and, it takes time to film, there's also sort of this like inherent joy that's sort of running under all of it as well.
First of all, guys, this is the best show on television. It's going to be streaming exclusively on HBO Max June 29th. I legitimately mean that. My girlfriend watched me or saw me watching the end of season 2 and was like, "What is this?" And she just got hooked on it. I was like, "Nope, you got to stop right here. We're going back to season 1. We're starting fresh." This show is phenomenal. Look, first question I have for you guys is season 2 ended incredible. Episode 9 was the episode where we got the, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, but it ended with or it started with the execution of Jacob. And that really was the catalyst to get us into where we're at with season 3. What are you most excited for fans to see with some of these journeys that we're going on with these characters in season 3?
First of all, we've come back after a really long layoff, so we fought hard to get back, and in coming back, I think once we did get that green light 2.5 years later, we felt a tremendous desire to retroactively earn that spot, and we've come back with a lot more ambition, I think, than we had in the first 2 seasons. So you're going to see, more elaborate fight sequences. You're going to see more complex storylines. You're going to journeys to some new places you've never seen before. It is probably the most intricately wrought season in terms of story. It is emotionally, I think it's got the biggest punch, and I think some of the best fighting. I think it's got some of the best fighting we've ever done, which by definition means it's the best fighting on television because we're already that.
Yeah, I don't even know how you up the ante for the fight stuff on this show. But you know what's cool about this show though is that the fights aren't overshadowed by the writing. I feel like anything, it's an extension of the writing. Can you talk to me a little bit? Season 2 is a perfect example of this with Assam versus Leary. Can you talk to me about the intensity of some of these fight scenes? Because I was just told that was one of the most intense fight scenes that Andrew has done.
Yeah, I remember I was on set actually when they were filming that fight scene, and it was shot at night. And yeah, but I got to tell you, like, first of all, Andrew and Dean, like they are just such phenomenal, committed, amazing actors, and they do their own fighting, and the sort of camaraderie that and the energy that gets going between them, in particular in that scene that you're talking about, and then all the extras standing around. It was like everybody was just there for it, into the wee hours of the night. And I think that they're also phenomenal actors, right? So they can bring that emotion and that character through all of those fight sequences, which is something we really try to do throughout the show, is to have the action be an extension of the characters, an extension of the story and the circumstance that they're in, right? So, anytime there's action happening on the set, like there's this extra energy that starts to build around it. And even though it's exhausting and, it takes time to film, there's also sort of this like inherent joy that's sort of running under all of it as well.
Now, I want to talk about some of these character journeys if we can touch on them just a little bit. Believe me, I have a ton and I know I'm not going to get through them all, but I'm going to try. So first one I want to talk about is you guys write women on this show brilliantly. They're all strong characters. And I want to talk about Atoy and Nellie for a second, because I feel that like when we see Atoy, when she meets Nellie, I feel like she finally feels like she can put Chinatown behind her and lay down the sword. Can you talk to me about those two characters' journeys throughout season 2 or season 3? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we're trying to convey there is something. Obviously there's two women who are kindred spirits in some ways and who found something, deeply important in each other. And at the same time, what we were trying to convey there is the sense that this is, aside from, obviously it's a same sex relationship, but it's also an interracial relationship during a really fraught time racially. And there are things that will still divide them. And that even within this relationships, there are assumptions and there are ideas that they will have that will be in conflict with each other. And we wanted to make it really clear this isn't a sort of lovey-dovey, happily ever after. Oh, we found love, so nothing else matters. These are two people who are still, even with the best of intentions, caught up in something where they have certain preconceived notions and certain behaviors that are going to alienate the other. And so I think they have a very difficult journey in season 3, which is that they love each other, but they have a very different way of dealing with what's happening around them.
Talking about love and dealing with all that stuff as well is Richard Lee. I want to talk about that character for a second because I feel like he's had the biggest shift from season 1 to season 3. Shannon, can you talk a little bit about Richard Lee's character and the journey of kind of like an odd pairing with him and Chow in season 3 without giving anything away, obviously?
Jonathan's going to be better at like talking about characters and not giving anything away. I think there are a lot of brilliant pairings in season 3, and this is one of them, right? Like these two people who are struggling with their worlds in very different ways, but find themselves, in the same boat in a way, at some point. And in a way, having to become unlikely allies. And I think that their journeys we finally get to see sort of a more vulnerable side of Chow. I think we've seen glimpses of it here and there, but we get to see even more, and we get to learn sort of what's at the heart, something we've always sensed, but what's at the heart of Richard Lee as a character, and what love it really means to him, right?
The fun thing is, Lee is maybe our only non-racist white character, really. That doesn't mean he's going to like every Chinese guy he meets. And, him and Chow have not gotten along till now. And even when they're forced to work together, there's a really great friction between them that I think, in both cases, Assam and Leary and Lee and Chow, you're talking about off-screen very good friends.
Right.
And so I think they bring a great friendship off camera that leads to a great friction on camera.
I can't wait for people to see this show on June 29th. I hope there's a season 4. I actually hope this show goes on forever. Please tell me there's going to be a season 4.
We will hopefully know after it airs, but we don't know yet.
Well, look,
ready.
I've been advocating for it on Twitter. I'm getting everybody else to watch this show. I can't thank you guys enough for your time. This show's incredible. I have tons more questions, so hopefully someday I'll get to ask them all. But thank you guys so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for loving the show so much.